zombified.
As always, we will kick off May Day with a game of Family Feud, of course hosted by Cardington alum Quinn Maseko.
What do you do on the nights you do not watch television? Aaron. Football!
Yeah, Aaron should probably never play Family Feud again.
The juniors were able to pull away with a win, and now it's time for four-quarter dodgeball.
Here at Mayday, four-quarter dodgeball. Juniors got a cool plan. We got 15 people out here looking to catch that dub. GoPro cam, check it out later in the video. I know you're gonna like it. Let the game come to us. We do what we want. Peace.
The seniors were dominating dodgeball until senior Colin McAvoy decided he was going to turn his back on the senior-sophomore pact.
Colin, I blame you.
Colin, you're stupid.
Colin, you had one job. Stick to the game plan.
What? Alright, look, they had it coming, okay? And plus, I'm not about this whole, well, it's a team with one side so that way we can go on the other. No, that's all crap. We're playing a game to have fun. It's ridiculous that everyone was so mad about it. Sheesh.
Everybody at once, throw it to Eli. 3, 2, 1. Yes! See ya.
As soon as Colin turned his back on the sophomores, all three classes targeted the seniors, and the juniors were able to pull away with the dodgeball win, and a definitive statement from Merrick with the dunk to prove that the juniors are here. However, the seniors were able to get their revenge in Jenga when Madison accidentally knocked the whole thing over for the senior win. And after Jenga, it was time to head outside to play a Mayday Classic Zorb Soccer. And the juniors were able to pull away with yet another win, once again proving that they are ready to win this year's Mayday. Next up was Pillow Fight, and thankfully this year, nobody actually got knocked out, so that's a plus.
Fatality.
A new game to Mayday this year was Slip and Slide Kickball, and let's just say the juniors, led by AJ Hall, officially made it their game this year. Nice slide, Gavin. The juniors absolutely dominated this game, and they will definitely be controlling the game in the future.
Speaking of new games to Mayday, this year we added Indiana Jones to the lineup. And let me tell you, it is actually very fun to watch watching children get run over by a giant soccer ball. Very enjoyable.
How you doing, AJ? Great. Good luck. Hey, is this thing on? Oh, yep, here we go. So, this is AJ from the juniors, and, this is Dalton's video, but we were sitting here editing, and I was thinking to myself, we could be using this as study film to really put the juniors over the top next year so we don't lose again. Whoa, pause. Juniors, look at this. Look how fast every other team is going, and look how slow we are rolling. We were doing the rolling at a snail's pace. We need to be going much faster if we want to have a chance for next year. Out $100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on my Silverado grill. And I buy the bar, double round a crown, and everybody's getting down in this town. Ain't never gonna be the same, 'cause I saddle up my horse and I ride
And to add to the chaos of May Day, we added the Hillbilly Slip and Slide.
No!
And now it is time for everyone's favorite May Day game, Buck Buck. Let's see if any class can set the record.
Four by the freshmen, one by the sophomores. We're going to double, maybe even triple that.
It's now become one. The past was alright, but the end is more fun. So throw up your hands, smash up your seat. It's all going down as a word on the street. So do it one time for what it's worth, 'cause this is the last night.
Alright, I'm back to talk about everybody's favorite game, Buck Buck. Now you see, this year us juniors, we won it. We won it with 8. But in previous years, 8 would have gotten us last place. So if we want a chance to win next year, we gotta pick it up.
And of course, to end May Day, you always have to end with the class versus class tug of war. Let's see how this goes.
Your bed, 'cause they are the voices in your head. Some will fight by the lies they said. We become the walking dead. 'Cause everybody's like an edge.
After multiple brutal games of tug-of-war, the mayor of May Day, Mr. Byerly, brought all the students to the center, and he was going to tell us who the winner of May Day officially is for May Day 2023.
Wait for this moment. Yes, sir, Cody! Cody ruined the seniors!
The class of 2023 was able to win May Day 2023. This has been Dalton.
Hold up, wait a minute. Dalton, I got something to say. You know, the juniors this year, we might have won a majority of the games at May Day. But we didn't win many games outside of May Day. So next year, that's gotta change. 2024 is our year, juniors. Let's get it.
Hi, this is Crockett reporting for PNN. So I've already talked plenty enough about pigeons, but here's a crash course really quick. So pigeons can make really wonderful pets. They can pair bond for life to a human, which means they essentially marry for life. They're the only truly domesticated bird, meaning that they are not built to live in the wild, which makes them a bit of a public nuisance because we've essentially, adapted them to be fully reliant on us and then abandoned them in the wild. And pigeons are raised for one of 3 things, and that is either to race in pigeon races, real fun, to show in pigeon shows, which are like poultry shows, or they can be raised as pets. And I have 6 pigeons, which means that now that I've had them for around a year, I think I'm finally ready to start breeding them. Pigeons are terrible nest builders. This makes it a problem when breeding them because they can't really raise their own young if their eggs have fallen out of the nest that is honestly just 2 twigs stacked on top of each other. And no, that is not a joke. This is a real nest that one of my pairs made. The breeding does have some math to it, and that makes things a whole lot easier. Each pair lays 1 to 2 eggs every month. That can make for a lot of babies, especially when each baby doesn't wean or separate from its parents until it's around 4 weeks old. So to prevent overpopulation in a loft, breeders will often take the fertile eggs out from the pairs and just replace them with fake plastic eggs. And some breeds or individual pigeons can just be bad parents as well, which means that fostering can be necessary. Essentially, you line up 2 pairs to, lay and hatch eggs at the same time, and you take the eggs from the bad parents and you swap them to be under the good parents, and then you just put fake eggs back under the bad parents. This means that the good parents can just raise those eggs without an issue. Still following? Great. It gets so much worse. There are only 3 true colors that a pigeon can actually be. In order of dominance, they are ash red, black or blue, and brown. From there, all of the other colors that pigeons show are simply modifiers. Here's a chart. And finally, while I have devoted way too many hours of my life into learning color genetics for pigeons, I am by no means an expert, and it is always going to be guesswork. And hey, on the topic, I'm not an expert at all in breeding pigeons, so here's someone who is.
My name is James. I am the primary breeder for Keepsakes Loft. We focus on breeding companion birds. We breed classical trills, lucernes, and Turkish taklas at this time.
So what got you into breeding pigeons?
So what got us into breeding pigeons was actually Melliflex Loft. We've been following them since before they even had pigeons. Originally, I was hopeful that I would be able to find some lucerne, but acquiring them up here in Canada was very difficult, and acquiring any pigeons was very difficult because up here it's kind of a community that exists without you seeing it. So originally my interest started with Mel, but it was a few years after that that we found Duke and Duchess, which were our first pair of classical trills, and I think that was around 2019. Yeah, a lot of people started baking bread with the pandemic, but we became pizziers instead. So up here in Canada, I'm still the only companion breeder as it is.
Oh, what do you think makes pigeons such good prospects as pets?
There are a lot of reasons. They're quiet. I can't really necessarily say they're clean because when they're molting, there's a lot of feathers and dust around. Of course, the cost of keeping them is so minimal compared to so many pets. It's really all you need, is a big bag of seed and a box of grit, and you're good to go. At the Renaissance Festival? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, as a nod to sort of ESA work and finding outstanding pigeons, Pip, for whatever reason, has always been incredibly bomb-proof, whereas me and Adrian are more sound-sensitive than he is. We had him out to a Renaissance Festival at one point, and as soon as we walked in the gate, they had those dummy cannons at the Renaissance Festival. So we walked in the gate of the Renaissance Festival, and they launched off one of the dummy cannons, so it was bloody loud, and both me and Adrian, jumped a good foot in the air, and Pippi was still dancing away on my shoulder, what the heck? What are we doing? So specifically with Galahad, she alerts when there are elevated emotional levels. So somebody is, say, ugly crying, but also it goes on the other direction as well. So we had some company over, and everybody was laughing raucously, and Galahad started alerting because she's like, this is a very extreme emotion, and is everybody okay? And she was basically checking in with everybody. She's like, all of you guys are making sobbing noises. Are you okay? I saw your message, and I'm like, you want us to talk about pigeons? I mean, that's easy enough. We never shut up about them.
But yeah, I do appreciate it.
Hey, no worries. More than happy to do it. And good luck with your project.
So over the course of the summer, I plan to be pairing up 3 pairs. And they are Soren and Foghat, who are both Rufano powders, Bonnie and Qatar, who are classic old frills, but Qatar has a little bit of Archangel in him, which gives him a bit of bronzing around his neck. And the final pair is Walter and Pepsi, who are both Brunner powders, the tall, weird-looking ones. So, over this summer, as I start my breeding process, wish me luck.
This year in PNN, we got the chance to talk with some of the faculty and staff members of Cardington that helped out with this year's graduation. Some of these members include Miss Price, Mr. Jamal and Miss Estes, and lastly, Miss Brenninger.
Leading up to graduation, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. We have to make sure that we have the list of seniors who are actually going to graduate. We then create a seating chart for where those seniors sit. The valedictorian and salutatorian are at either end of the first row, so figuring that out kind of changes the order of seniors. We have to then prepare for practice, try to make sure that seniors and their parents know what time they have to be here for practice and for graduation itself, make sure they know what the dress code is, make sure everybody has a cap, a gown, a tassel, make sure everybody has all the different honor cords that they're entitled to wear. We do a senior breakfast the day of graduation practice, so I really need to call 8 Sisters and order some donuts, get some milk and things like that. Make sure that all the seniors have everything they need and that the gym is prepared. The custodians and maintenance staff do an amazing job of making sure that that gym is set up. Guidance in the front office do a great job of preparing the program, both for graduation and for senior night, making sure that the diplomas get printed, that the right name is on the right diploma and everything's spelled correctly, make sure that the diplomas are in order. There's a lot of work that goes on, and a lot of people deserve an awful lot of credit for all of that work.
Well, set up like actual ceremony is one thing. Getting it ready for the year is another. So both Miss Estes and I track seniors. So you're at the rising seniors at the start of the year and looking at credits and what they need to take, because we do scheduling this time for next year, and students put their requests in, but it's a matter of making sure they select what they need, right? Because not every student knows that. So that's like behind the scenes all year long, tracking credits from semester 1, credit recovery, things like that. But as far as the ceremony, we have a team that we work with, so we kind of delegate. I got some things to do. She does as well. Other staff has to order flowers or get the stage set up or lighting or those kind of things. So it's really a lot of people involved in it. So I have my part. I'm also going to speak for the top 10 list, which we still have to put in order and together today, the next couple of days, figure out our salutatorian and valedictorian. So those kind of things, academic, but also helping out with the stage, the pamphlets, the brochures, the scholarships, which is a big night before graduation on the senior baccalaureate night on Saturday night. So that's a big one where a lot of students get a lot of money for college and post-secondary education. So a lot of moving parts. This time of year is really busy for us, but it's all worth it in the end.
For the seniors and getting their fees paid, computers returned, lunch accounts, that's probably the biggest challenge. But with seniors, not necessarily, but with the 9 through 11 and the exemption schedule, that's a conflict with everything we're trying to do for graduation.
And so with the senior class being over 60 people, it can be pretty challenging to organize all of that. What are some of the challenges that can occur from that many people?
Seniors a lot of times are kind of done with school by the time we get to graduation practice and graduation, so just trying to make sure that everybody shows up for graduation practice is really important. For those seniors who maybe the graduation ceremony isn't as important to them, it really is important to their family, those people who have supported them throughout 13 years of school, to be able to experience that, to see that senior walk across that stage and get that diploma and take the first steps in their next life is really important to make sure those seniors understand, even if they don't think it's important, it is for their families.
I don't necessarily think the amount of people matters. It's more people we have to track for sure. But it's, no matter how many, it's all the same and how we do it. Now it's crunch time though, so.
Yep. last push, your last week for it.
Very much so. Just a little bit.
Not just today, it's the last couple of weeks, but
Yes.
it builds towards it, making sure that every student gets what they need to do done. There's always a few to talk to make sure that they stay on top of their classes and their grades and everything like that. But comes to the territory. So far, it's looking great. So I'll have to get through it all, but it always adds a few more gray hairs to me. So as you can tell, it's been doing this for a while.
This video will be about 6th grade camp, to show upcoming 6th graders all the fun activities, encourage high schoolers to be a camp counselor, or if you're just curious. There are 6 stations: stream studies, tree climbing, outdoor cooking, fishing, canoeing, and finally, archery. First things first, we ride the bus to Recreation Unlimited and find our groups, and make headway to our first station. In stream studies, we put on our trusty boots and hop into the stream, where we can study and examine the native fauna and flora. Next up is tree climbing, and after a quick demonstration and safety rules, we start climbing. And finally, lunch. And maybe a little bit of playing on the playground. For outdoor cooking, we burn up some tasty treats, using the fire. The snacks vary per day, but are still awesome. After the 3rd station, we head home and get ready to do it all again the next day. When we get to fishing, we're quickly told the do's and don'ts, and then we go fishing. Next up, we have canoeing. We put on our life vests and start paddling, and remember to be safe. And finally, we have archery, but the problem is, I can record it, but this guy's canoe tipped over and the camera broke, so yeah. Anyways, archery is pretty explanatory. And that's the video. If you're a high schooler and you're interested in being a camp counselor, you can contact Mrs. Harvey.